Those tortillas are holding on tighter than my jeans after Taco Tuesday. Can of pop for comparison.
Whenever you're ready.
Full hour, and you said it was 11 minutes was the record?
Yes, that's our record.
All right, 3, 2, 1, let's do it. It is so tasty, Henry. Hey, Chew Crew. We are in St. John's, Michigan at the Crave Shack, and I am about to attempt their Big Kahuna Burrito Challenge. This monster is 5 pounds of flavor. I'm told it's gonna be the best burrito I've ever eaten in my life. That's a pretty high bar. I already know my favorite burrito I've ever eaten. I know everyone's got their favorite burrito of all time. But I already know which one's my favorite. I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but we'll see if this one takes the throne as best burrito ever. This 5-pound behemoth is packed to the brim with rice, black beans, pinto beans, chicken, beef, pork, lettuce, tomato, onions, sour cream, salsa, and their signature Crave sauce. The ingredients list is a mile long, and this thing is huge. They stuff all those ingredients in a few monster tortillas overlapping to create a giant bundle of delicious goodness. I have 1 hour to complete the challenge. If I'm able to do so, I get the meal for free, I get a sweet t-shirt to add to my collection, and the coolest prize, the Crave Shack doesn't have a wall of fame. They have a surfboard of fame that winners get to sign their name, their date they completed the challenge, and the time. The current record for eating this surfboard-sized burrito is 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Record held by Nathan Klein. So I am looking to not only beat this challenge in under an hour, I'm looking to hang 10 and be the first person to try to beat this thing in under 10 minutes. At least that was the goal when I walked into the Crave Shack that day. Going into the challenge knowing that I wanted to take a shot at the record, I knew I was going to have to be a little unconventional with how I eat this burrito. If you remember my prior burrito challenge south of Indianapolis at El Potro, I ate mine like a proper human with a giant steak knife and a fork. My strategy was simple. If I was going to beat the record, I was going to have to ditch the silverware and eat with my hands as long as possible. At just a few minutes in, everything was going great. I was really happy with my progress. But then I hit the rice wall. There was a massive pocket of rice hiding in the middle of this thing like a burrito landmine. It was super dense, a touch on the dry side, and just stuck to my throat like I just inhaled a fistful of cotton balls. But fortunately, I had my trusty Coke Zero, and I was able to take a few good pulls of that, wash down that sticky rice, and keep pushing forward. And right about now was when my strategy literally fell apart. I had chomped down both sides of the burrito, and at this point, most of the fillings had now fallen to the tray. And I said, well, now is about as good a time as any to try to fold up the remaining tortillas and munch those away before tackling the rest of the filling. On that note of devouring food like a rabid animal, next week's challenge is another silverware-less attempt at food glory. The next stop on my wild food adventure was Wonder Burger in Saginaw, Michigan. For this one, I was going to try to scratch off a bucket list food challenge item, being the first person to ever defeat a food challenge, and their colossus of a double quad and loaded fries challenge. Wow.
It is no joke.
Nope.
You can take your time. I'll give you the breakdown in just a second.
Okay. I guess one question to start. Did the city make you guys take out a building permit to make this? This is ridiculous. Okay. The flavors of the double quad and the loaded fries were incredible, to say the least. But was that amazing flavor enough for me to become the first person to defeat this beastly burger and fry combo? Stay tuned to find out. If you haven't already subscribed and turned on notifications, make sure you do so, because you'll see quickly why this is an undefeated challenge. On the topic of amazing flavors, circling back to the intro where I was told that this was going to be the best burrito I'd ever had, I was pretty skeptical to say the least. As I mentioned earlier, El Potro in Indianapolis served me up what I consider the best burrito I've ever had. Largely, I think it came down to the quality of the shredded beef mixed with the plentiful pico de gallo and the loads of queso that came with it. How can you not like queso? Comparing this burrito from the Crave Shack, I would say if they also topped this burrito with queso and more pico, I think this one at the Crave Shack would give the edge as Charlie's favorite burrito, strictly due to the amazing Crave sauce. It had kind of that garlicky, aioli, maybe a touch of ranch to it. I couldn't exactly put my finger on it, but it was the perfect pairing to all the delicious meats and vegetables and beans. There aren't many substitutions that can be made on this challenge. One of them, though, is that you're allowed to pick your salsa. They have 6 or 7 different kinds, and they allowed me to pick 2 different ones because I'm indecisive and slightly reckless. I went with half pico de gallo and half pineapple salsa. The pico for that fresh crunch and tang, and the pineapple for sweetness and that tropical Big Kahuna vibe. How about you all? When it comes to burrito salsa, are you team spicy and sweat through your shirt, or team mild and just enjoying the ride? I personally like some heat, but not so much that I can't taste the rest of the burrito. The tortillas were actually surprisingly sturdy for a burrito this big. That was my biggest concern, was it was just gonna fall apart at the first bite. So a huge thank you to the 2 ladies that helped roll this colossal burrito together. Honestly, it probably could have survived a drop from the 2nd floor. It's like they're swaddling a food baby.
Dude, that's a good one.
5 pounds of deliciousness. This fork wasn't cutting the mustard, and I had to call in the pit crew. Henry, may you bring me a spoon, please? Henry came in clutch with a spoon so I could scoop up the last little pieces and some of the remaining fantastic Crave sauce. It was kind of funny, the whole right tool for the job thing reminded me a lot of when I'd help hand my dad tools when he'd be working on the cars. So a little bit different a generation later, handing utensils to your father as he eats a burrito larger than his forearm. But it's nice to have those father-son moments nonetheless. At this point, I was making the final push, and I switched to full attack mode. I pretty much just stopped breathing so I could focus more on chewing and swallowing. Kudos to the pineapple salsa. It really was saving me with that sweetness, keeping my taste buds alive as that savory fatigue was starting to kick in.
You're good. Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
That's a new record.
That is a new record.
That was one of the best burritos I've ever eaten. It was so tasty. The pulled pork was amazing. At 7 minutes 32 seconds, I surfed past the prior record. My name is now permanently displayed on the Big Kahuna surfboard. The meal was on the house, and I'm getting an awesome t-shirt. If you liked watching this burrito challenge and want to see my other one that I have attempted, check out the link here. If you also like watching people eat without utensils, this challenge here is absolutely for you. Thanks as always for tuning in and watching the chaos unfold. Until next time, hang loose and stay hungry. Hang loose. That.